And while you're waiting for that to connect, can you also roll a die on the die roller just to make sure that it's working properly? Cool.
Nice.
Fantastic.
Let me get this one up.
Connected. Great.
There we go.
And now for something completely different. Yes. All right, let's jump into it. Where we last left off, Miguel, you were inside of a shack in the south side of the bridge, which is a settlement that is on the border between Mexico and Wasteland, Texas, near El Paso. You were sent there to officially set up some posters and set some posts for potentially dangerous things that could be around the area. Unofficially, you were snooping around trying to find information about the Toros that could be in the area. After doing some investigation, talking with a fellow ranger in the area, and looking around in the market, you discovered some cartel people walking around. And you found yourself, like I said, in the shack with Disc, a man with a gun, a man smoking some sort of dirt weed, the big, fat, burly guard guy with a double-barrel shotgun, and your new, well, not new, your friend, your old friend, Rico, who has clocked you as a ghoul in this shack here, and has pulled his gun, surprised. We essentially left off with him pulling the gun, saying Rico, and then Miguel being like, "Hey!
It's me!"
So, Miguel looks at Rico from across the way. Rico looks back. There's like a moment of like really awkward, terse silence until the man with the gun, who's sitting on the couch across from you, speaks up and he says, "Is this a friend of yours, Rico?" And Rico looks at you and sort of gives you like a knowing look as he lowers his weapon. And he's like, "Yeah, old history. Just making sure everything's bueno." And he looks over. "So, what do we got? Where's Cal?" And Disc, who's standing in the corner the entire time looking slightly confused about the situation, he's just like, "Ah, yes, well, that's part of the issue here. It seems your old friend here," as he gestures over towards you, "has incapacitated Cal, and he will not be accompanying you on your journey." And Rico looks over at you, and he says, "Ah, perfect. Great." After that, everyone sort of like tries to settle in and make it not as obviously awkward. They basically pass all the information back and forth as much as they understand of what went down. Miguel, you probably keep things very short and curt in terms of your answers, I would assume.
Yeah, just kind of I'll chime in when necessary, but I'm more there to take it in.
Right. And from what you can gather, as was established beforehand, Cal has a drug problem and was being supplied by Disc, who has connections with the man on the couch who's been smoking the dirt weed. And essentially he ran out of caps. He was getting caps from the guy with the gun on loan and had to pay him back. And so it's sort of like a very, very ridiculously unfair situation where both the drug supplier and the cap supplier are in cahoots with one another and have been basically exploiting Cal's addiction to their benefit and using him for whatever nefarious needs they need.
Of course.
Basically, it ran on for a while until Cal started getting really strung out and all of his usefulness started waning, essentially. And so the man with the gun who has yet to be identified, which is why I keep referring to him as such, keeps essentially keeps tabs on a bunch of people. And when Cal got into a bar fight a couple nights back at Grubb's bar in the main part of town, and got kicked out by the Desert Ranger, that was sort of like the last straw, essentially, in terms of like being public and forward-facing about the whole situation. And so he was just like, yeah, okay, nope, we're done with this. No more. You're cut off. I want my money back. And if you want any more drugs, you're going to have to pay for them yourself, essentially. And so Cal went to Disc to get his drugs. Disc turned him down, and that's where you found yourself in the marketplace with them going back and forth. Lots and lots of caps owed. Basically 400 caps for whatever transgressions have gone down, with more caps on top of that for whatever else he owes. As a way to try and pay for that, he was going to work with Rico, who is here on behalf of the Toros cartel, who needs some work done on the other side of the wall, but can't have like official members wandering around and everything like that. Cal himself is not of the Toros cartel. He's more of a mercenary type, works for money so that he can get drugs, and that's kind of how he does that situation. So, as this whole conversation's going down, it dawns on you that everyone is talking about this with you in the room, with the assumption that you are now replacing Cal as this mercenary.
Okay.
Whether or not that is what you want to do is, of course, up to your decision. But before everything sort of finishes and things are sort of being wrapped up, Rico looks over to you and he says, well, we'll figure out the details later. Right now, I need to catch up with my old friend and get a drink. I'll talk with you gentlemen later. And he stands up and he's like, amigo, and he gestures towards the door.
Yeah, I'll get up and start following him up and be like, it's been a pleasure. Walk out.
Sure. So yeah, the door opens, the big burly dude with the shotgun opens it for you. He just kind of pushes the door open with the shotgun. Mm-hmm. You guys step through.
Finger guns as I walk through.
As you step outside, the wind that has been like blowing sand everywhere has not relented. It's still kind of going around and everything like that. But you find yourself back outside. And Rico next to you. And as soon as because he starts walking away from the shack, back towards the north side of the bridge settlement, presumably to go get a drink.
Mm-hmm. I'll follow him. I'll go get a drink with him, sure.
Okay. So yeah, you guys kind of walk quietly for the first part of this journey through the shacks of the south side. Not a whole lot is said between you. Like I said, just very quiet. Two friends getting a drink.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually, as you cross the threshold back past the big perimeter of the bridge settlement, Rico finally speaks up. And he says, Miguel, you look like shit.
You say that again.
I heard rumors that you may have survived what happened, but I never would have thought that it would have been like this.
If you call this surviving, then yeah, I am. I'm a survivor.
You must know that I had no idea that that's what they had planned for you, right?
I don't know anything right now. All I know is they're gone. my family, Alejandra, Maria. My life is over. And it's all because of them.
He doesn't say anything to that. He just kind of nods and continues walking down the main streets of the settlement. Eventually, you make your way over towards Grubbs. You can see the hotel bar as it has been set up. It seems to be fairly busy at this particular time of the day. There's a lot more folks walking around, everything like that. And so, as you walk in, there's sort of a line to the bar. And so you have to kind of wait as Grubb is kind of moving around as quickly as he can, hobbling, grabbing stuff, dunking cups into the barrel, handing them out and stuff like that. So, you're waiting and everyone's looking around, and you can hear, like, people just kind of talking and murmuring and stuff like that. Everyone's talking about how busy it is right now. And some person is just like, yeah, some fucking asshole just, like, washed their bloody clothes in the drinking fountain, and so now it's completely ruined until the thing gets, drained out and washed and refilled. So everyone's here trying to get a drink. And, like, you could hear Grubbs like, yeah, this is the best damn fucking day I've had all week. People need to start bleeding that drinking fountain more often.
Does Grubb see me?
Yeah, he notices you, because, like, he's keeping a sharp eye on who's coming in and who's waiting in line and stuff like that.
Good deal. This entire time, well, let's see here. Because you have to go outside to get to the, I was going to say, I want to be sure of my surroundings the entire time I'm in here. Keep my options to flee at a maximum if needed. But yeah, I also want to keep an eye on Grubb behind the counter.
Okay. Yeah, Grubb's just he's just moving around, getting drinks, trying to take care of all the patrons as fast as he can. Eventually, the line sort of moves up, and you guys are like maybe like one or two people before it's your turn.
Okay. I'm going to turn to Rico and what are your plans with me? You don't plan on telling the cartel about me, do you?
Miguel looks as he's just kind of taking in. He hasn't, like, made eye contact with you, but he's very casual about the whole thing as he's looking around. He's like, no, I don't think I will. At least, not yet. I'm here on some personal business as well, and if this works out, I could use your help. Finally, the people get their drinks. It's the bottom shelf special of Grubb. Just that cup of swill. You're not sure if it's wood alcohol or whatever, but yeah. And you guys walk up to the bar and you see Grubb, and he's like, yeah, what can I get for you?
My friend here is buying us a round.
Rico smiles and he just says, 2 tequilas, por favor. And you see Grubb like, oh, tequila, okay. And he sort of hobbles over and he opens up like a trunk, like one of those big travel suitcases. And inside there's just a bunch of wooden slats that have been put in with bottles and bottles of various sorts of different kinds of things. And he pulls out 2 bottles, and you can see from the label that it's Lucky Lady margaritas. Mm. They're regular here in this kind of area, right around like the southern part of the United States and Mexico, and they taste pretty awful when they're warm. You do know that there's a special variant of the Lucky Lady called the Mamacita margarita. Mm-hmm. That particular version is a much smaller amount of alcohol, but the bottle itself has a special pull ring attached to it that actually injects what's it called? Liquid nitrogen into the drink, causing it to be instantly ice cold.
Interesting.
And so, it was like a really big promotional thing back before the war that was way too expensive. It didn't actually do anything,
Right.
but people collect them because the bottles themselves can be really useful because they have properties that can be used outside of beverages, and everyone likes a nice cold Lucky Lady margarita. These
Absolutely.
ones, of course, are the regular ones, the shitty ones.
Of course.
And yeah, Grub plops 2 bottles down, pops off the tops, keeps the caps for himself, puts them underneath.
Yeah. Gracias. I'll take it and just take it down.
Yep. Rico grabs his bottle, taps it twice on the bar, and then just chugs the entire thing in one go. Puts the empty bottle back on the bar, turns and looks. Let's get a seat.
Yeah, I'll keep my bottle.
You guys walk over. There isn't a whole lot of like seats. It's more like standing areas with like things that pretend to be tables. There's like an old wire spool, like the big giant industrial wire that they use for like cables for like hanging lamps and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The big wooden spiral like container that they use to wrap that around, they've just kind of knocked over on one side, and people are using it to hold their drinks and stuff like that. Okay. So you find one of those, and there's only one other person there, and as he sees you approach, he's just like, nah, and he takes his drink and he walks off.
Have a good day, friend.
He just I don't want to deal with whatever garbage going down as he takes his drink and walks off. And Rico looks over to you as you get to the table, and he says, we need to catch up, because I feel like there might be some animosity between us because of who I am and what happened to you. And
because you mean the cartel killed my wife and my child and made me a ghoul? And you're part of that cartel? Is that why?
And he grins and yeah. Look.
And now we're here. And you are telling me that you might not tell the cartel about me? There's friend, we do have a lot to talk about.
Rico sort of chuckles. He's like, You're right. Kind of an asshole thing to say. I'm sorry, my friend. You have my word. I will not tell anyone else that you are here. I don't think the higher-ups know. There was rumors that passed back from your town, El Hombre, that somebody had come to the remains of your house and left with whatever was left there. But the description they gave didn't match your own.
Clearly. Point to my face.
They sent me to recover your body. I went out there into those wastes weeks after the water had dried up, expecting to see whatever awfulness they had done.
Again, I'll point to my face.
I buried your family. There are markers with their names. And an empty grave with your marker.
Much appreciated. Did you tell them that you didn't find my body?
No.
Again, much appreciated.
The Toros, they look at things from high up. They don't care about the details. And so they didn't ask. They knew you were dead. And so I didn't tell them otherwise.
I did die that day. I want you to know that. They took everything from me, and I plan on taking everything from them.
I understand what you went through as much as I can. But you have to understand that the Tauros, they do have positives. They bring stability to the areas that they have.
Mm.
As long as people keep their heads down and do what they're told and give what they're supposed to, like, people can live there. People are happy. People are fed. Children don't have to cry.
We were happy before they came through, before they turned us into slaves. They made us work for them. And when we didn't, well, points at himself, this is what happens. People die. They're happy. They're living at the top. They get all the benefit. What do we get? We get shit on. We get nothing. And now you want me to overlook it?
No.
You want me to say, well, they killed my wife, they might kill my daughter, and turn me into a ghoul. You want me to say, that's life. Carry on? How can I carry on?
No.
People look at me like this guy here who walked away. Every day I get that. I walk down the street and kids are frightened of me. How do you carry on with that? How do you live with that?
No. Mi amigo, no. Don't come at this from a place of anger. Come at this as a place of opportunity. There is opportunity here. I am here because the Tauros need something to get done for them that will protect everyone. And I need help accomplishing that goal. If you help me, you will be helping the people, as he sort of like waves his hands around.
What is this thing you need done?
There is an old pre-war smuggler's tunnel that comes somewhere over here, as he sort of points off in the distance, and goes somewhere over there as he points off towards the wall, that the Tauros is looking to use to infiltrate and get closer to the pass. But there is also a tunnel connected down there to old sewers. There's a group down there, another cartel. They've established themselves there. They've been living down there for a while, and they've discovered something bad that's making the water there even worse than it already is, and has asked for our help. The Tauros has agreed to help them if they get access to the tunnel. But I can't come down with a bunch of Tauros cartel so close to the Rangers without raising suspicion.
So just so I have this figured out here, there's a tunnel underground
Yes.
going from the bridge to the pass.
It's nearby the bridge.
Here.
Yeah.
Okay. And there's a cartel down there guarding it, living down there.
Yes, there is an underground pre-war smuggling tunnel that connects to the old sewers down there.
Got it.
And then down in the sewers is another cartel who has been like living down there secretly. Something has affected the water, and he says specifically the entire like Rio Grande. It's something, as the water's coming through this area between the borders, the water that goes downstream towards the Gulf that everyone else is using, especially near Juarez, is bad, is just awful. And so something upstream is causing it. and the cartel in the sewers thinks they know what that is.
Perfect. So you want me to go down into the sewers? You want me to make friends with this cartel? You want me to figure out what's happening in the river so they give you access to the tunnel? Is that it? Is that the idea?
That's the idea, yes.
Mm-hmm. And what kind of time frame are we working with here?
As soon as possible.
As soon as possible. And how is this helping the people? Because of the water? Gonna make it fresh for them? Is that the idea?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
the water.
Mm-hmm.
It will help.
And he kind of mulls it over for a while, knowing it will help the people, but also hating that he's going to be helping the cartel. Well, I at least want to know what I'm up against. I want to know what this is, what's poisoning the water. So I'll go. I'll talk to him. I'll find out.
Thank you, my friend. You will not be alone. I will be accompanying you, at least to get to the other cartel. What happens from there will be up to you and how you want to approach it.
They're not gonna become defensive because you're there, are they?
No. They are expecting a Tauros to come through the tunnel.
Okay.
They're expecting help to come through the tunnel.
Well, they'll be getting both.
He looks you up and down, and he says, I think this will do well for you, my friend. Give you purpose. And he's like...
Mm-hmm. Again, he'll just nod. Lead the way.
So, he turns and he's like, yes, first we need to stop by a friend and gather some gear.
Who's his friend?
He's a market person. He creates and crafts gear. All I know is he has some equipment for us to pick up. You may not necessarily need it, as he kind of looks at you, but I would like to keep my skin.
Is that a fucking joke?
No offense, my friend. No offense.
As a piece kind of just dangles down on his cheek. How much radiation is around?
Above, not so much. Tunnels, poquito. Sewers, that's where we think a lot of the problem is.
Ah, so I'm gonna be helping you a lot then, huh? A man with my skills.
To be fair, I was expecting Cal. It is fortuitous that you happen to fall into my lap instead.
Yeah. Depending on how good the doctors are around here, you might actually get Cal.
Oh, well, all we can do is hope and pray. Come, let's go pick up our equipment.
Lead the way.
And so, as you follow Rico, sipping on your margarita, you head back over towards the market area that you were there earlier. It's definitely died down now and is a lot less rowdy. You can see that somebody has started to flush the drinking fountain. And so the water that was in there is being, like, poured out by buckets. into the street, and the street is just starting like water rushes everywhere, and then as soon as it hits any patch of like dirt or sand, it just immediately gone.
Help of nature. All right.
Rico takes you over to one of the more ramshackle buildings in the market area, not like the laid out carpets and stuff like that before, like the flea market style. There's actually a building in this area that's semi-permanent, at least. As permanent as, chicken wire and mud can be. And he leads you inside, and you see a man just working on stuff. He's got like one of those tinker's workbenches that's just got all sorts of stuff all over the place. And it's ridiculous. He's just got all sorts of bits and bobs, and like as he's working on stuff, as you guys are walking in, you can see he's like throwing wrenches out of the way and grabbing other things, and you can hear duct tape and sound effects of like ratchets making noise and everything like that. And for a few moments, like, you guys walk in and Rico's just like, hello? My friend, hello? Finally, the guy turns around and he's got big, like, they're almost like, what are they called? Magnifying type face mask, that like big giant lens, and his eyes are like bug-eyed.
Huge. Yeah.
As he like turns around, he's like, oh, and he lifts him up. You are here. Good, bueno, come in. And he's sort of like, ha, ha, ha. He walks over and he was like, nah, and he scoots off a bunch of random shit onto the floor from a table. Bullets and screws and a screwdriver like rolls across the floor. And eventually he walks over and grabs 2 leather satchels, and he lifts them up and he brings them over and puts them down on the table. And he takes one up, opens up the flap, reaches in down, and pulls out what looks to be an environmental suit. But it's got like bullet holes in it, and it's been like scratched and ripped in all sorts of places. But this man has very lovingly, craftingly put it back together and stitched it back up. And so you see him, and he pulls it out. He's like, yep, here you go, see. And he hands it over to Rico, and Rico like looks at it as he's expecting it. And he goes to like poke his hole, and where what used to be a bullet hole, you can still see like the rib of the hole itself, but it's been patched over with another piece of plastic and melted in. He's just like, this is good work, my friend. This is very good work. He's like, yes, of course, everything for the Tauros is the best. Primo. It's like, yes, you have received your payment already? And the man's like, yes, we have. Thank you. My grandchildren will be thankful. Good, my friend. I am glad.
If they live.
And the old man says, what? He's like, yes, there you go. That's everything you need, all of the specifications you asked for. Please, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. And Rico looks over at you and he's like, well, there's another one, if you need it.
Yeah, I'll take it, sure.
So you are handed a satchel that contains a repaired environmental suit.
Okay.
Basically what that does is it offers you absolutely no protection whatsoever, except for radiation damage. Anytime you take radiation damage, it gives you essentially 3 armor for radiation damage.
Okay.
When you wear it.
Mm-hmm.
You being a ghoul, that's not necessarily a good thing or a bad thing. It just depends on whether or not you want to deal with radiation.
Now, I can wear this, but I can also take the helmet off when I don't want to, and I can absorb that, right?
Yes, if you decide to wear it without the helmet, it only provides you with 1 rad armor.
Yep.
Because
Okay.
it needs to be like the full sealed suit to give you the +3.
Yep.
But you can wear it without the helmet if you wanted to and have just a big yellow rubber suit for +1 rad armor. and then put on your clothes over it or whatever.
I think I'm doing calculations over here.
That's fine.
Accident.
And also along with it, you see that inside of there is a very rudimentary, cobbled together Geiger counter.
Okay. How does that? What does it look like?
So it looks like one of those old egg timers with like the dial on it, and
Okay.
it looks like you have to turn the dial, and then as long as that dial is on, it will try and detect any radiation. The only problem is it's difficult to listen to it passively because the clicking noise of the dial turning down is louder than the clicking noise from the Geiger counter spiking. So you have to constantly be checking it to make sure. It's got like one of those little thermometers with like the liquid inside of it, but it's been adjusted so that it like spikes up and down with the rads.
Okay. What kind of crap is this?
It's the kind of crap that works best when all you have is trash, the old man says.
Is there any kind? Is it something that I have to hold on to and check manually, or is there a way that looks like I can fashion it to strap around?
You could
an
probably
arm or-
you could probably set it up to like slot into something. The environmental suit that you have does have like a pocket.
Okay.
So the back of the timer itself looks like it's been hot glued with like one of those metal, like just a little metal slat, and so you could just kind of slot it in there and hold it there.
Okay.
And you can check it whenever you needed to, kind of thing.
Gotcha. Sure. Yeah, I'll take that. Obviously, not going to put the suit on yet, but I'll put it in the bag. Put it all back in the little satchel and keep it on me.
Yeah. Rico thanks the man for his time. You know, says something very friendly, shakes hand with him, and then says, let us move," and heads back outside. As
Hey,
you
you
head,
want to go check on the? You want to go check on your buddy Cal?
that is probably best. We should know what his situation is. And also let him know that the work you're doing is not going to pay off his debt. You guys head back around the corner, down a hall or down an alleyway, and you see the shack of the medical center, Heaven's Angels with the little red cross with the halo.
Yeah.
The door is still sort of like ajar from like the last time you left it. And as you guys approach and walk inside, you can see that the people there are still very busy with stuff. You see them still running around and walking and talking. And the lady who you talked with firsthand has taken a break, and she's near the front, sitting down, drinking, and just... You can see her sleeves of her long sleeve shirt that she's been wearing have been rolled up, and the cuffs are soaked in blood.
And we're on the outside looking in?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to enter. I'm going to walk in and I'm going to talk to her. Be like, hey, what's the story with the guy who was brought in with the, stab wound?
The door creaks as you walk in, and she looks up, and as you say all of this, she's like, "You have caused a lot of commotion today." And she,
Hey, I'm just trying to help out the community. Save a soul, right?
Yeah, saving a soul of the person you stabbed in the middle of the marketplace.
He fell on my knife. Look, is he all right?
He's stable, for now at least.
So he can walk? Or no?
No.
Oh.
The blood loss brought on some form of withdrawal that I have not seen, and so he is currently unconscious.
Useless. Great. Wait, do you know what he's withdrawing from?
It could be any combination of things. I'd have to do a proper test, and I don't have the equipment at the time.
Is he, out of curiosity, verbal? Like, can he speak? Is he aware of things when he comes to?
When he came to last time, he gurgled, almost choked on his own tongue, vomited up probably a pint of blood, and then passed back out.
Excellent. Okay. Well, that's all I needed to know. Keep up the good work.
She just kind of squints at you and gives you a really?
If you happen to, slip up a little bit, it happens, but it's okay. Don't worry. Nobody's going to blame you. I'll just walk out.
As you leave, Rico turns and looks at you like, my friend, you did a number on that man.
I like my math. What can I say? All right.
Well, Cal is useless, as per the usual. Is there anything else you need to do before we have to leave? Anyone else you need to talk with?
Right now, no. I'm good.
Okay, then let us head out. He motions for you to follow him, and you guys start heading out west from the bridge area. Of course, to go west from the bridge, you actually have to go south through Southside and leave to go across the bridge that the settlement is built on top of, that gets its name, and then you can start heading west. And as you guys head out, the day sort of like the sun, you guys have been, your whole adventure for the day. Finally, it starts to be a little later in the evening, essentially. Let me... Oh, God. This one. There we go. So, yeah, you guys head out. And the sun is finally starting to peek over, or dip down under the horizon and the mountains. The sky starts to turn blue and pink and all those pretty colors. And again, Rico doesn't say a whole lot as you guys are making your way across. Every now and then, he sort of looks over to you, just expectantly, and then kind of keeps moving.
Yeah, I'll be doing my kind of a hunter thing. I'm going to keep an eye out, make sure that there are no creatures about, and if there are anything that I think I could small enough to kill and take everything, because I like to use everything when I hunt. I'll probably shoot it and do whatever.
Sure.
Have lunch or dinner that night.
Give me a level 3 intellect-based task.
Sure. Nope, no effort on that one.
No effort? Okay.
Nope. Let's see here.
Any skills or anything like that?
What are we talking about? Because I have geography, history. What else we got? Following tracks? No. Yeah, the only two I could really come up with right now, depending on what we're looking at, would be history and geography.
I would say potentially geography.
Okay.
In the future, before you roll, you should try and argue for the things you have. But we can let this one slide this time. I would say that your history or your knowledge of the geography of the area would help you in trying to find a good spot where things would hide out, or a good place to find some plants, or something like that to use as bait, whatever. And so that would give you one level of success. But regardless of the situation, you got
could
11.
Also use tracker then? Because if we're talking about actually finding animals, I got tracker, which would be
that one would actually be the useful one for you, because you're hunting animals, and following and identifying tracks would be useful in that. So yes, that would give you that. So you got 4 levels of success. So, you, as you're going along your trail here with Rico, are following some tracks, and you think you've come across what looks to be radroach tracks coming up from like some sort of pit in the ground and going across the desert. It seems to be going for a while. And so you're following it. It skitters across the sand and everything like that. But you haven't located it yet. And as you guys are heading in the general direction, eventually you see off in the distance what seems to be a mound of like wooden crates and looks like a rusted like dolly that's been like leaned over onto everything and then just covered in a mountain of sand. And you can see the tracks kind of lead off in that direction. And as you look up ahead and take in that image, you can actually see at the top of the mound of all of the garbage a radroach pop up and just kind of skittering around in between the slats of the wood.
Gotcha. How far away is that?
You'd say right about now, probably 100 feet.
Good. Okay. You said I saw a dolly.
Yeah, it's like the metal frame of like one of those moving dollies.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been rusted over and it's just kind of leaned over on top of the things.
So it's not like connected to anything. I don't see any.
No.
Okay.
It's like a moving dolly for like moving like a refrigerator or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just been haphazardly knocked over.
Gotcha. Do I see anybody else around? Any living soul, or is this
nothing you can see?
Okay. Hey Rico, you wanted some food?
He looks and sees what you're eyeing across the way. He's just like, oh, radroach. Hey. Beggars can't be choosers.
Exactly. It's a delicacy out here, man. Yeah, I'll get in I'll pull up my rifle, get in a prone position. Would that help me out a little bit?
Yes, it would.
Excellent. And yeah, I'll take aim and I'll fire on that radroach.
Sure. So, let me just take a look. So, being at a higher ground, you technically have the higher ground in this particular instance, gives you an asset. You laying out and like taking position with your gun to steady it also gives you an asset.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's a level 3 task, speed task, but those gives you 2 levels of success, so I only need 1 level of success.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll straight up roll that then. Well, now, let me do a check with this. I could play edge once per action, so that would take it down by 1, right? Or how? Explain me how edge works again.
Edge takes off the cost of any point that you use from that particular pool. So anytime you use an ability, or if you use effort, it costs however much edge you have less to do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Then I will just, I'll roll and try to beat, what, a 3 then?
Yeah, 3 or higher.
Gotcha.
There's the 3.
Wow.
Bullet flies through the air, explodes the front half of this radroach. Green pus spits out as it tries to keep crawling for a moment, spewing whatever gross-ass gunk it has inside of it before it finally stops and falls into the sand. It just twitches. As you look up from your scope, you can see Rico. He's just like, that was a good shot, my friend.
Yeah. Every day, all day. Remember that. I'll just get up, put the rifle on my back, and walk towards the dead desert lobster, as they call it.
Desert lobster, yes, of course. A cuisine.
Succulent.
You walk over to the rad roach, and it's dead. It's definitely dead. It's very easy for you to clean and get the meat out of it that you need.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead and add 2 rations of rad roach meat to your character. This one was particularly juicy. You essentially, the bottom half of the cockroach, you essentially sliced in 2 and have a flank with like 3 legs on each side. You've broken off the more hard bits of the legs, so it's just like the meat and the stumps of the legs on each side.
Okay.
You can eat it raw. Most people wouldn't. If you cook it up, it'll be a lot tastier. It's still gross, but yeah. As you're looking around, as you're doing this, you look over towards the crates and the knockdown thing. You actually see sticking up out of the sand what looks to be human remains.
I look at Rico and say, "This is your doing?" As I walk over there and kind of examine more, looking for any kind of, make sure there aren't any traps or anything lying about.
You walk over, and as Rico takes a look, he's like, "Nope, nothing that I have anything to do with." And you can see what looks to be a human skeleton buried in the sand. It looks like he was at one point sitting, leaning up against the crates that were in the area, and then whenever he died, he just stayed there, and then the sand just kind of kept swept over him. And so he's just been buried like past his chin, and you just saw the cap of his skull.
Dome.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so as you kind of like brush away at some of the sand and reveal it a little bit more, you can see that whatever he had on him at the time has been, scavenged or ripped away by animals or anything like that. But you can see his hand was placed over something. And as you're kind of digging around in there, you see like a rusted metal toolbox. Very small, maybe like 2 by 2 with a latch on it. The whole thing's rusted over. As you try to like pick at the latch, it's stuck.
Okay. If I apply my bayonet, is that going to help?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If
off?
you just like pop it open, in fact, I won't even let you. You don't have to roll for that. You just the entire thing cracks open, and it just rips the whole top off. Like it shears off of it from just the decay of rust and everything like that.
Nice.
And inside, you see what looks to be a stim pack and 3 caps.
Nice. I will take all of them.
Cool. So
I will not give any to Rico.
That's fine. Go ahead and add 3 caps, and then roll me a d6 to determine the level of your stim pack.
Oh, baby. All right, 3 caps. According to... Oh, look at that. I didn't even see that. So I have 9 total. Doot. Get rid of that. Bada-bam-bam.
3. So,
Okay.
your stim pack is a level 4. It will heal you for 4 points when you use it.
Got it.
And those 4 points can be split among any of your pools.
Sure. I'll just grab it, I'll put it in my pockets, and I'll hand Rico the empty container.
He looks at it,
up.
pours whatever bits of dust, sand, and broken rust bits out of it, and then tosses it behind him as you guys continue on your walk.
Metaphor for my life. Yeah, we'll just keep going. I'm going to keep that food until we set up camp, if we, are in a position, and I'll eat it.
So as you guys are going, Rico's explaining where this is located roughly, and how long it'll take for you guys to get there. You guys should probably be able to get there by nightfall.
Okay.
To where the entrance of this smuggler's tunnel is. It might be best to set up camp outside of that, because he's not sure what's inside the tunnel or the sewer along the way to get to the cartel on the other side. You guys are still on the side of the Mexican wasteland. And so this tunnel and sewer system would get you over to the other side. back in the Texas side. So,
Gotcha. Do we know, because this is obviously outside of the bridge area, so that tunnel going to the other side would be outside of the pass, right? Or do we not know that yet? Does Rico know that? Rico, where does it pop up?
We don't know yet. We've never... This would be the first time the Toros has made any contact over there. From
Contact.
From what
I like how you word that.
From what we've gathered, this would be to the southeast of the pass. We don't know where exactly. The sewers down there, they spiral out and go in every which direction for whatever system was built beforehand. It always runs along the Rio Grande so that it doesn't interrupt it, but as far as where it pops up, who knows? Tunnels collapse. The smuggler's tunnel itself used to be vast, with many tunnels all over the place, but through years of post-war, everything's kind of crumbled. This is the only one that we know of that still has any sort of functioning tunnel.
Do you have a map? Do you know where we're going?
I have directions.
From who? A blind person? What do you... Did God come down and give you direction? What? Tell me.
There was a man from the cartel on the other side who came to us, and he wrote the instructions down and got it to us before he succumbed to his injuries.
Cartel on the other side, like in the past, you mean?
The people who wanted us to come over and help them, they sought us out. And in doing so, the person they sent out to reach us died.
Why would they seek you out? What do they want from you? Help from what?
This we do not know.
Fair enough. Let's see what awaits.
You guys get over towards nearby where this smuggler's tunnel entrance is, and from what you can tell, the way that this tunnel was set up, you see a couple of large rocks kind of jutting out of the sand, and there seems to be a depression in the sand, and Rico walks over to it and he starts kicking sand out of the way with his foot, and you can see that there's sort of what seems to be like a cellar door underneath it, and so he's kicking the sand out of the way and trying to get it all cleared out. And he looks over and he's like, I could use your help.
Wood or metal?
It seems to be wood.
Okay. Yeah, sure. I'll go over there and I'll help him clear it away.
You guys
lift it up.
clearing it up, and as you can see, it's like I said, it's wood. It's got wooded slats along it, and you can see that the sand has sort of seeped into it. And so as you pull open the door, you can see that the sand rescinds down into this tunnel, and the hole that you would presumably walk down is now small enough to crawl through to get down in there.
Nice. So can we see how far down it goes?
Right around this time of night, the sun still hasn't quite set, but from the angle that you guys are and the two big rocks, it's dark down there, and there's nothing to really say how far down it goes. Okay. Rico does take out like a flashlight, and he pulls from his pack a battery, pops it in, and then cracks it open. Click.
Got one of those for me.
And he looks around and is just, hold on. Click, click, click. And it doesn't. And he spins off the top and twists the little bulb inside and twists it back on. Click, and a very faint light clicks on, and he's like, unfortunately, no. And he looks down there, and he's like, I can't see shit. This thing's more useful for dealing with assholes than it is for seeing anything.
Great. So we're gonna go in a dark tunnel. You brought that piece of crap with you.
Like I
Sounds
said,
like
I was expecting Cal.
What, did Cal run a flashlight store or what?
No, but he was going in first.
Oh. Oh, I see. Oh. But now that Cal's not here, you're going to go in first, right?
Of course, my friend, of course.
Absolutely. Maybe, I don't know, if we wait till daylight, is it going to be easier to see in there?
It would definitely let us know how much of a crawl we have.
I don't see any harm in waiting.
Neither do I. Shall we set up something as he looks around?
Sure. Yeah, I'll use my my hunting gathering skill here, I guess, to gather up some wood or whatever we might have around to start a fire.
Yeah.
There's health benefits to eating the rad roach or no?
Healing wise, no.
Oh.
Not for like just straight up eating it.
But if I cook it over the fire?
If you cook it over the fire and you use a recovery, the food will actually help with your recovery roll. You still have recovery rolls to make.
Oh yeah, all of them.
Yeah, so eating food helps with the recovery roll, essentially.
Like adds a modifier on it?
Yeah, so like depending on the quality of the food, how well you cooked it, what it's made out of, stuff like that.
Well, you know, I mean, we're going to spend all night here, so I don't really want to waste my food if I don't have to. So I'm just going to...
True. But you do need to eat.
Oh, do I?
I mean, you are not required to eat, but you do suffer starvation. And so eventually you need food.
Which ghoul lore are we following here? How long do I have to wait before I have to eat?
You don't have to okay, you don't have to eat food specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't, you start taking on like hunger pains, and it starts gnawing away at you, and that starts dealing intellect damage.
And ghoul knows what that's like.
And basically, your intellect damage is how the feral tendency stuff kicks in.
Fair enough.
So food and water are not required by ghouls, but it's probably a good idea to eat and drink, unless you want feral stuff to happen.
Fair enough. I will cook up one rack of rad roach for myself, or rad scorpion, whatever it was we killed.
Rad roach, yeah.
Rad roach. And then I'm sure Rico has some food of his own.
Yeah, definitely.
Sure. So I'll cook that up and then I'll eat it while I do a recovery action.
Sure. So your rad roach is going to add +1 to the roll.
So D6 plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to add that modifier automatically into my roll.
Sure.
So what we get is 2.
2.
Wow.
Woo-hoo-hoo. So that's your immediate action.
That was some shitty rad roach.
You also have a 10-minute one, and so it'll apply to that one as well if you want to use the 10-minute one.
I will. So when we apply the healing to our character, that goes in any, or does it start with might and work its way down?
Anyone you want to do, anywhere.
Okay, yep. It doesn't even matter. We'll go ahead and put it into our intellect then. Now, here's another question for you on healing. If I do heal and I only have 1 point to put in like intellect, I can put the 1 point in there and then throw the rest in anywhere else, right?
Yeah, you can distribute the points however you like.
Good. Got it.
You just can't go over your max.
Yep.
Any extra points you get on a recovery roll past the max of all of your pools just don't get used.
Gotcha. So we did that one. Let's go ahead and do the 10-minute one. I'll roll another D6.
Sure.
And I get a 6.
There we go.
So yeah, we're going to totally do the fill that up. So I have 5 left to do, and I'll put that in my speed. That'll bring it up to full. So my intellect and speed are up to full. My might is 7 out of 12.
Plus that
It's
1.
kind of shitty. That was automatically added in.
No, it was not.
Oh, you're talking about to the 10-minute one?
Yeah.
Oh, that gets added to that too. Perfect. Then I'll do that to 8.
And then, I mean, you're going to be sleeping for the
Yep.
rest of the night. So you could
Yep.
do an hour one, and then if you don't want to sleep for 10 hours and wake up at the crack of noon,
Nope.
you can wait for that one. But however you want to do that. And then essentially, once you take your 10-hour rest, then it resets.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, I'll do that. Sure. And we get 7, which is way more than I need. So that is brilliant. Okay, so that's all used up. So now I have to do a 10-hour if I need to heal up.
Yep.
Or other things. But
Right.
yeah, perfect. Okay.
Cool.